All right, take two. Click that there, record, and...
I said you better watch what you're doing, 'cause I ain't gonna stop when I'm moving. I'm headed to the top, I'ma do it. I'm headed to the top, I'ma prove it. And baby girl, I like what you're doing. Your body's out of sight when you're moving. You look just like my type, so let's do it. You know I'll treat you right, let me prove it. And I could go all night, I'm sick of being nothing. All right, I'm gonna be something. I'll fight with every breath, trust me. I'ma be the one at the top, you can't touch me. I need to find somebody like me, who wants to be something. I bleed with every word coming. I would rather die than be someone who's nothing. I'm the type of dude who will not remain nameless.
I'm the type of dude that will not remain nameless, Josh. I don't know if you knew that about me or not, but...
Well, you know, that was established when you were born, I'm sure.
That was Dangerous by Neffex, Neffex. Thank you for creating copyright-free music that we can play with no problems. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Head Noakes Overdose Football Fix podcast, Saturday morning edition. Josh, I feel like we should be in PJs, eating cereal, and watching cartoons, but here we are doing this shit instead for our 8 listeners.
You may not be watching cartoons.
What you watching over there, SpongeBob?
No, Scooby-Doo.
Bro, I respect the Scooby-Doo. We have an email address, hiddenovesoverdose@gmail.com if you ever want to reach out, a.k.a. Brian. Facebook.com/hoodpod is another way to reach us. Josh had abandoned me for just a second, but it's okay. He was helping the acoustics. We're also on Anchor. I know I said I was going to use that last week, but I'm going to use it this next upcoming week. We're going to have all our semifinalists call in, or I will cut their throat. So we'll see how that goes. Josh, now you can say hi to the folks. Josh, you're one of our lovely hostesses, including me as the other one.
Hi, folks.
Beautiful. All right, segment start times, description below. As always, Levi Oki, illustration on Instagram, is responsible for that beautiful art you see. Josh, how you doing this Saturday morning?
I is Dern. I'm awake. I'm ready to bake.
Ready to... Are we going back to the college days, Josh? What do you mean when you say ready to bake?
Cookies! Actually, I just couldn't think of anything that rhymed with awake at the time.
I like ready to bake, though. I mean, it could be the old shake and bake, you know? If you smell smell something crispy after a race, it's not your tailpipe. It's a little bit of shake.
And bake.
Yeah. So since we've recorded last time, Thanksgiving happened. There's a lot of stuff then. How was your Thanksgiving?
Oh, you know, I guess it has been a while, but it's been good. I mean, obviously the Turkey Bowl was a huge success. Found a new QB1 for the team. That's you.
Ladies.
People may think I'm being sarcastic, but nope. G-Money over here was G-Money. Just money. So
I'm pretty sure I had 2 touchdown passes.
We will say you had 2 touchdown passes. I called one non-touchdown, but I'm going to say I was across the line.
Oh, I mean, I was talking about, I'm pretty sure I threw 2 pick sixes, but...
Oh, yeah, you did, but those were your only 2 incompletions from what I count.
Yeah, until garbage time, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
When the game mattered, I only had a couple incompletions. So, yeah, that happened. Did anything else happen to you over the last... So, we recorded last Tuesday, so that was, like 11 days ago?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm sure some things happened.
Nothing that noteworthy?
Nothing really, no. Nothing that I'm going to share.
Gotcha. All right, well...
How about you, Gar?
Wow, I was going to say not that anybody asked, but no, you did ask. I had the stomach flu. I'm pretty sure I got it over the weekend. Started feeling real sick Monday night, and then so we didn't record Wednesday because Josh didn't want me to contaminate his whole house for some reason. So we're doing this Saturday. Well, I'm still probably going to contaminate his whole house.
Yeah, you can go on and stop that.
So that's why we're doing this Saturday morning edition. But, you know, we get a little closer to the playoffs, so the playoff matchup, so I'm not upset about that either. But I had the stomach flu, so that was my big eventful thing. Otherwise, I had a good Thanksgiving. Love stuff on my face with turkey. Normally my favorite thing on Thanksgiving is stuffing. And I think I had maybe 1 small spoonful of stuffing the entire Thanksgiving. And I have 2 Thanksgivings, so...
That's disgraceful.
I'm a little sad about that, if I'm being honest, but... That was my Thanksgiving, Josh. We heard about yours. Let's get right into some hot, spicy takes. What do you got this week?
I'm going to say the Bears make the playoffs.
Ooh.
A little bit more, and I made that prediction before the Thursday night game, so just going to throw that out there. They are, what are they, 7-6 right now?
It might be. I guess I'm genuinely not sure.
Because I think they were 6-6, and I'm pretty sure they're 7-6 right now. And so the Vikings got them nipping at their heels a little bit because the Vikings are 8-4.
Yes, I want to say yes.
Does that make sense then for them to be 7-6?
So that 7. Well,
Oh yeah. 8-4 is 7-6 numbers. So the Vikings, they have someone nipping at their heels now. Not that they didn't before for the wild card, but that's just one more team to add into the mix. It's a divisional opponent that they have to play again. So we'll see what happens there. But that is my prediction.
All right, so I had a hot take in there. It was a bit of a dramatic one after Monday night, but I have since changed it. Not because I don't believe what my hot take was, but because we had a celebrity shot or a celebrity request for a hot take. So I'm going to fulfill Kyle's dreams in getting his celebrity shot hot take in there. And he wants his hot take to be that Nikita Bunker is going to win the locks and upsets pot.
Dang!
That was his guess, and he currently has a 6-point lead on her. So
Okay.
he's hoping for an implosion, I think. Not hoping, but planning for an implosion.
Yeah, Nikita and T are right there in second, so it's possible.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think Kyle's picks are in yet. He continues to go with his reckless abandon, which has been working out for him pretty well. So I don't know why he thinks that's going to happen. But,
I mean, reckless abandon, he picked Green Bay over New York last weekend.
Before that.
Okay. Yeah. No, understood. That's pretty bold.
So
that's spicy.
That's the hot take he wants in there, Kyle. I hope it doesn't happen. I'd love to see you walk away with $140. I definitely don't want to see T walk away with $140. God knows that kid doesn't either. But
He wouldn't walk too far. He'd get to the local bar and toss it all down on the counter and give me some drinks.
Give me some drinks in?
Yeah, he's already drunk, so.
Oh, T, you ugly bastard. All right, those were our hot takes, Josh. You wanna move into some fan tasty zone?
Well, now we're going to have some fan tasteless zone because I don't have a snack right now.
I was just going to point that out, Josh. You seem to be snackless for your you're not even going to grab a beer? I mean, it's only 10 in the morning. What's your problem?
It's 10:25.
You're helping my argument even more. No beer?
Nope, no beer. Nothing right now. Winners get to eat. I'm not a winner.
Don't worry. We still got the old trustworthy. Ooh, strawberry Arnold Palmer. Thank you. All right, Josh. So I see you wrote a first note here in the fan tasty zone. Key injuries. Walter's feelings. Do you care to elaborate on that?
Oh yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and say he lost the Victoria's Secret League.
Lost by a lot, or
by I think less than 2 points. I mean, so Walters, for those of you who listen, is the same guy who emailed into the podcast saying who doesn't check their fantasy rosters or fantasy page, yada, yada, yada.
He can check it as much as he wants. If he's bad, it's not going to matter.
Well, no, I'll get there.
Okay.
Who checks that? Let me in, sign me up. Thanks for the championship. Whatever. Paraphrased. This young man started Evan Ingram as a tight end this weekend.
Bold move.
Who didn't play.
Of course not. Hasn't played in weeks.
And he had 2 tight ends on the bench, both of which scored enough points to have given him the win in our free-for-all week. With that win, he would not have finished in last place, and he would not have to do combine drills wearing a clear plastic baggie as a costume.
I didn't know that was the costume.
Well, when I win the championship, that's what the costume's going to be because I get to pick.
Can I come to these drills? I want to watch this.
Well, you're going to get a chance on YouTube, ESPN, and NFL Network.
Let's just say I'm going to have some tingles in my jingles.
All right. But no, he did message me, and I think he said he was sick. But at the same time, you had him in your lineup all week. Why not take him out knowing he hasn't played in weeks?
Some would say he placidentally shot himself.
Oh, yeah. He placidentally shot himself, missed, and then shot himself again just to be sure.
What an idiot. You think we're going to get another email about Walter's talk from Jamie? Or
Hopefully. Fan mail. Brian, I'm sure you've got that pulled up.
You've got mail.
I do. Brian, ever in his Brian wisdom, likes to keep it brief. But here's what we got from Brian this week. So just to give it a little context, it might not make sense. So he's talking about who he's taking in all the playoff matchups this week. So he says Jamie's going to win. This is the Hidden Oaks Redraft League. Jamie's going to win. Hammer's going to win. Garlic's going to win. And Josh is going to win. So that's who he's got. And then he already put in his round 2 prediction. So the semifinals, he's taking Jamie and Hammer. So he's predicting a all-Hammer Hidden Oaks Mega Bowl.
Which is just disgusting.
And then he's taking Hammer to win it all. And, of course, he always ends it with love the Grum. So that was the email from Brian. He's taking AJ, a.k.a. Mr. Hammer, to win the entire thing. And, Brian might be biased here. I think Brian's having Hammer win the whole thing because Brian's playing Hammer this week. And so when he loses to Hammer, he wants to say he lost to the champion. So I don't want to say Brian is trying to, skirt things a little bit. But I think that might be the case here. What do you think? You get the same take on that, or?
It's possible. I mean, that's exactly the road I would go, so I don't blame him.
So I would have to say Jesse's gonna win the fucking championship? No. All right, I have to win this week, otherwise I will have no self-respect.
Yeah, no, that's understandable.
We already let that kid win this league once somehow.
No, Jesse didn't win it. Jess
Morset, correct?
Yep.
His alternate.
Yep. No, that's understandable. I like Brian's take on that. I mean, obviously, I'm playing Willie. He picked me to win, so he's got one wrong.
You think so?
Yeah. Walters, I didn't know he mailed in. What did he say?
So I got it's a text message from.
Oh, because he doesn't remember the email?
Apparently, he's never heard me say it. He's never heard Facebook.com/hoodpod. Anchor, he knows about Anchor. So whatever. But anyways, this is less of a fan mail, but I'll just read the text message verbatim. It says, possible topic of discussion, : Vikings Sunday Night Football victory over Dallas. Signature win or a victory following the statistic that Kirk Cousins can only beat teams with a 500 win percentage or lower? ? So, at the time, it seemed like the Dallas win was a pretty big win for us, but now everyone knows that Dallas is trash. So I guess that's more of a question for I'm interested in your thoughts, Josh. What was that Dallas win as meaningful as we thought it was at the time, or is Dallas just terrible and it's just us beating another sub 500 team?
Well, I mean, I would say that at the time, yeah, it's meaningful, and it still is because it's still a win in the win column. But when you look at the when people reflect on this season, they're going to look at it and see that Dallas is not as good as we thought. Poor coaching, that sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, I would say that at that time, there was still a team that was looked at as a top team, decent on both sides of the ball. I mean, they got the talent on both sides of the ball. And so I wouldn't say it's a statement win, but a win is a win. I mean, a statement win is Miami beating Philly.
I don't know if this is going to change. He said signature win. I don't know if there's a difference in your role between signature and statement.
Oh, absolutely. Here, can we rewind so I can...
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. I mean, we've talked about that narrative of Kirk Cousins against winning teams in primetime and yada yada. That's fine and all that they have that stat, but they also have stats for everything now. And I mean, he's 0-8 on Monday night games. Big deal. The defense is 0-8 on Monday night games when Kirk Cousins is their quarterback. Why not say that? And so
it's true.
And so I mean, and I defend that side of the thing just because of all of the people that say Aaron Rodgers is like or something in overtime or something like that. Well, that's because they don't get the ball and the defense is trash, give up touchdowns. So yeah, it's a team sport, and I would say that it's a win.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I mean, as far as signature win, I don't know. I mean, winning at the end of the game the way we did, it feels good to like kind of walk off and stopping their offense the way we did. That felt good. But at the same time, a signature win is beating a team handedly. There's good, like beating a good team. Like if we would have walked off and beat Seattle by 3, I don't know if I'd call that a signature win. It's definitely a great win. But to me, a signature win is just stomping the team. I don't know why. That's kind of the definition in my mind. But, it was a great... I agree. Getting a win is always a win. But as far as playing a Dallas team that now is confirmed trash, I don't know, Walters.
Trash!
Those were my word vomit thoughts. So those were the 2 fan mails. And so before I knew we had a discussion question from Walters there, I already put one down. I'm curious on your brief thoughts on it, Josh. Since we are now in the fantasy playoff world... Ryan Walters is now looking at the podcast sheet, so that's weird. But anyway, sorry. What is your ideal fantasy playoff situation / system? So I know you made the playoffs in I think 4 of your leagues. I made the playoffs in a couple of my leagues as well. What do you prefer the system to be? Do you have a certain number of teams, or like just the head-to-head versus like the 2-week matchup? Like, what is your preferred fantasy playoff system?
That is a question I'd never been asked before, I guess.
Well, that's what we're doing here, Josh.
I like a variety of different things, I guess. To me, I'm not picky. I only like it if I make it.
Sure.
So like in a 12-person league, I think that 6 should be, I think that it should be 6 in the playoffs for like a 8, 10, 12-person league. But when you get up to 14, upping it to 8 is fine. But I don't think everyone should make the playoffs. I don't think in a 10-person league, 8 should make the playoffs. I don't think in a 12-person league, 8 should make the playoffs. I think that there just needs to be a balance, and it needs to be understood ahead of time. I know that there are some people out there that do in a 6-team playoff, the top 5 seeds get the playoffs, and then the last seed is split, or the last seed goes to the remaining teams.
It's like a wild card for most points for. That's kind of cool.
And that's an interesting take on things. But at the same time, it's not what they do in the NFL. It goes based on a win percentage, because we're gonna have Dallas or Philly are gonna be in the playoffs.
Let's just point out, everyone keeps saying it, the Washington Redskins are still mathematically possible to win that division as well.
So are the Giants. And so, yeah, those 4 teams, one of those 4 teams are going to be in the NFL playoffs with a chance for the Super Bowl. So
3-lie?
3-lie, yeah. He is starting this week. But for that kind of system, I just feel that I'm not too big of a fan of it myself. But I do understand why some people feel that it is a beneficial system. But yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, the main reason I asked is because I'm in a bunch of leagues with 6-team playoffs, which I like the top 2 seeds getting the bye. I know some fantasy leagues do the divisions, some don't. I'm in a fantasy league where we have divisions, and I won my division, but I was technically the 3 seed, so it's kind of like the top 2 seeds got the bye, so winning my division was essentially useless. So I thought that was interesting and kind of provoked the thought in the first place. I'm also in one league where there's only 4 playoff teams, and we're doing the 2-week playoff matchup. So like I'm playing the person this week and next week, and the total over the 2 weeks. And so we go into week 17, which I think is interesting. But I wish you could do that. I mean, it's not possible, but I wish you could do that more with more playoff teams rather than just having 4. So just a semifinals and a finals, but then you'd have to start the playoffs in like week 11 or something. Because that system is fun. It's like if you have one bad week, you're out of it. I mean, that's how it goes in the real world as well. Any given Sunday, you blow it and you're done. But it's just, I don't know. There's a lot of interesting systems out there. I don't know. I like giving the top 2 seeds the bye the most. I like the 6-team playoffs, the 2-team buys. I think if you earn a bye, or if your team does that well, you deserve a bye.
Right.
So you get into at least the semis. So I think that's cool. So to answer the question myself, I like the 16 playoffs standard system with 2 buys starting in week 14. Anywho, any other thoughts on that, Josh?
Nope.
All right, let's roll right into their Homer results. So it's been a while now, so the heat has died off. We'll talk about the Minnesota Monday night game first, because that game was more noteworthy probably than the Packers stomping the Giants. But Josh, I saw you wrote a lot of notes about this game, so I'll let you go first, actually, about the Vikes game.
Yeah, I just jotted things down because I saw that you didn't have much written down at the time. I know you were sick, though, so
sure was.
I just wanted to get something down because if we did podcast later than planned, which we did, I wanted to have something that I remembered. Some of the things on here, injuries weren't helpful to Minnesota. Obviously, Cook and Diggs went down. Diggs did come back, though. Cook's injury looked bad. He was crying. I mean, you could see he was crying on the field. But at the same time, he looks healthy enough to play this week. We'll see how that goes. The big note, and I know you always talk about it, and it is a huge indicator of which team is likely to win. Seattle had the ball for nearly 2 times Minnesota.
Yeah,
their time of possession. Yep. The game was a lot closer than you'd think based on that box score, just because box score, when you look at the time of possession, overall stats, that sort of thing, I mean, interceptions, turnovers, that hurt. But in the end, it was still a 1-touchdown game. Mm-hmm. Diggs had 2 drops, one that was intercepted. I texted you when it happened that there was an interception, and I was going to say it's not on Cousins because it wasn't. That was a catchable ball. Went off Diggs' hands, and the defender just ripped it out and got the pick there. So, and then you had one on, I think, the next drive or a couple drives later where it hit him in the hands. He was wide open. He dropped it. It was a little low, but at the same time, he doesn't want to jump across the middle either. So, but that defender made a hell of a play. It would have been a tough catch for Diggs, but it hit him in both his hands. There were 2 fumbles, so 2 interceptions, right? One interception, and then the 2 fumbles. One was Cook's injury. I mean, if it's his shoulder and rib, probably why he couldn't hold on to the ball. And then that final kickoff, which was just a dagger. Defense is a question mark. Been saying that for years. They showed a stat at one point where Minnesota's defense hadn't allowed more than 90 rushing yards or something like that. Or no, that's not true because it was
probably like an average
of 90 per game all season, and Seattle had 212 or something like that, 220. Josh Gordon still hasn't lost, and Treadwell had the most receiving yards for Minnesota with 1 catch.
Pretty damn impressive out of Treadwell. So, I mean, yeah, everyone who listens to this knows about the Vikings game. The only thing I kind of wrote down is, or I didn't write this down, but my thoughts about the game is we started well. We couldn't have started that game better. We deferred the kickoff, so they got the ball first. We forced them. I don't think they went 3 and out, but we made them punt. We got the ball back. We go on the field. We score a touchdown. They score again. And then we get a pick 6 off a random volleyball-esque Russell set. And then, so we're up 14-7. We go into halftime 17-10. We get the ball back at the beginning of the third. And from there, I mean, things just got bad. Cook fumbled. There was a pick. There was 24 unanswered points. We got burned on a fake punt. Fade me, as Josh says, sometimes when the Packers aren't doing so well. Our defense was also abused by the 6 O-line looks. So I know the stat is like 212, 218 rushing yards, like 40 or 50 of that was on the fake punt, but still, that's still 160, 170 rushing yards our defense allowed. So that's brutal. We just didn't have an answer. I don't think we would ever run. Zimmer is in the nickel most often, and so if there were 6 O-linemen out there, he might be in a base set with 3 linebackers, but still, linebacker's not going to do anything against an O-line, and he's going to get beat probably 99 times out of 100. So, I mean, we just got abused start to finish, and we were still in the game, so that's impressive, but I don't know, man. Just a depressing loss. It was a game we needed to win to control our own destiny. Now we're likely going to be on the road if we make the playoffs, so I don't know. Future of the Vikings is not that bright. Anything could happen, but going on the road in the playoffs is always tough. So, Josh, what happened in the Packers-Giants game?
Packers won. They won a game they should have won. Daniel Jones has the most or second most turnovers in the NFL at this point. He added 3 more to that total. Passing game was solid in bad weather. I was surprised because when I saw it raining and snowing, I was like, oh boy, this could be fun. But no, Aaron Rodgers threw 4 touchdowns, had a great game. Some of his passes were off, but like I said, it was snowing and raining, so that probably played a little into it. That run defense held Barkley to under 100 yards rushing, which probably, if you would have asked me that at the beginning of the season, I would have laughed a lot. Some of the cons, Jones didn't have a good game. His longest run was 9 yards, and he finished with 18 yards on 11 carries.
What a stud.
The punt return team is kind of a meme in itself right now. Their season-long return happened with 3 yards to bring their total to -9. They are ranked last. Kevin King got torched early on that Sterling Shepard touchdown, but after that, he did seem to get his head out of his ass and did okay. He's still one of those question marks where he has the talent. It's just he's got to minimize the mental errors.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get to watch the game. During all the noon games on Sunday, I was driving home from Detroit Lakes while I had the stomach flu brewing inside me. So I put on the radio the San Fran Ravens game because, of course, why would you listen to any other game on that day? But every once in a while, you would hear the score updates, and so I think the game was relatively close until the third, and then it seemed like the Packers ran away with it. That's literally the only thing I know about the game. So
pretty much,
Packers won a game they should have won, just like Josh said. Any other thoughts on the Packers game, Josh?
Go Packers.
All right, Josh, let's talk about some other Week 13 watchable moments. So we had all the Thanksgiving games, which I know was a century ago at this point, but any other games excite you during Week 13?
I mean, Thanksgiving games, Blau for Detroit looked really good actually coming out.
Surprisingly.
But then they blew it. They got blowed. Buffalo beat Dallas, which I think is hilarious. Jerry Jones, you suck. San Fran over Baltimore. That was your bold prediction that San Fran was going to stomp Baltimore.
It was.
That didn't happen. Bengals watch is over. Bengals got a win. By God, Super Bowl, here they come. Carolina lost to Washington. Philly lost to Miami. So with Cincinnati, Washington, and Miami all winning, I don't know what year it is. New England at Houston lost. That offense continues to struggle. James White had a great game. T wouldn't know though because he was on his bench.
Brutal.
But I mean, Josh Gordon was on that offense, and they haven't won since he left.
Is that true? Sucks to suck, nerds.
Actually, I don't know if that's true. But Josh Gordon's undefeated. Just throwing that out there again. Funny note is Kenyon Drake, since getting traded to Arizona, has not won a game.
We got two extremes out there.
Yeah, so Josh Gordon's undefeated on the season. Kenyon Drake is defeated. So, yeah. Did you have anything to add?
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, obviously most of those notes are mine. The last thing I wrote for the New England-Houston game is I just wrote it's all a work, which if you're a fan of like professional wrestling, that means it's a story. So New England every year seems to have this underdog story, even though they're the greatest dynasty potentially in the NFL history of the world forever and ever. But usually it's early in the season where people question them. Now it's going to be, New England struggled in the playoffs. They didn't get a bye or something. They'll probably still get a bye at 10-2, but I don't know. It just somehow, some way, it seems like it's a work to get New England this underdog picture. And I don't know. They're still probably going to be in the Super Bowl, but that's my tinfoil hat conspiracy theory of the day.
All right. So we talked about Homer results. We started with the Vikings. I started with the Vikings. Gross. Let's preview Week 14, where you start with the Vikings.
I will start with the Vikings, Josh, and just give me a moment here. We are playing Detroit. It is a home game at noon, and I have to update the Vikings record. Not that it matters too greatly to anyone, but that's going to bug me. So there we go. But yeah, I mean, it's a noon game at home. We're playing David Blau as the starting quarterback. I mean, Kerryon Johnson's good. Or not Kerryon Johnson, excuse me. Kenny Galladay is good. Marvin Jones absolutely lit us up last time he played. So really, we're at home. We have no excuse to be bad. Our crowd should be in it. Blau should have his work cut out for him. But really, this is going to be a big test of Zimmer's defense. Can he fix that secondary in time to make a playoff push, or is this team for sure going to be one and done? Because if we can't stop the pass, I know everyone talks about December in the playoffs, it's all about running teams. It doesn't fucking matter. If we can't stop the pass, why would they do anything other than pass? So we'll see. Can we actually stop a third-string quarterback? Or is this defense doomed? Hopefully Dalvin's out there. Probably going to be on a snap count unless this game ends up like the Denver game. We go down early, but I don't know. If we don't win this game, we're in trouble. That's about all my thoughts.
I wrote that this is a trapped game. Once again, Zimmer versus a backup quarterback. That seems to be his kryptonite. Might as well just pack it up now, accept the loss, get ready for week whatever is next, 15. And then, yeah, I mean, blow me. I agree with your take on Dalvin. Obviously, him being banged up, they don't want to risk anything there, so I think he's going to be on a snap count. Alexander Madison should be able to get the job done against Detroit's defense. But as we've said many times before on this podcast, it is a division game, so records don't necessarily matter. Neither do the spreads, and so it could go. It could go either way. The last game they played, it was pretty close, if I remember. Marvin Jones had 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, the game was closer than it should have been for sure.
But yeah, anything else to add to your team's game?
No, I guess I'll read my other note. I said I want us to run up the score. I want it to be 60-0 by half with 0 yards allowed, because that's the kind of win this team needs to kind of get a skip back in its step. But that's not going to happen. So that's what I want. I want us to run up the score in this one.
Yeah, you should bury the teams that are bad. That's kind of how it goes. Green Bay takes on Washington at home. I think it's their last home game of the season, unless I think they might have one more.
I think they play the Bears at home.
Oh, yeah, they play the Bears at home. That's right. I just put one thing, win. I mean, it's Washington. They should win. They're playing a rookie quarterback on a bad team. Solid. They have a decent run game going. I mean, Adrian Peterson's on pace for over 1,000 yards again as a 95-year-old running back.
Yeah. Sure.
Darius Geis is a decent young guy, but their passing game is bad. So I think that Green Bay is going to try and focus on the run, slowing that down, and then letting man-to-man coverage take care of the passing game. Overall, I think they're going to try and get the run game going. I think Aaron Jones is going to have a big week, especially after Washington said they're going to try and make – I don't know if you saw that, but Washington's defense said they're going to try and make Aaron Rodgers play quarterback.
Whoa. Do you think he's ever done that before?
I've never, the two-time MVP playing quarterback, never heard of her.
Yeah. So, I mean, my only note was this is a game the Packers should win in their sleep. I mean, if this game is not a convincing win, all that is going to do is raise question marks. I mean, a win is a win at the end of the day, but they should win this game handedly.
Yep. No, I agree on that one.
All right, Josh. It's not very exciting matchups for teams this week. So what about the rest of the NFL? Is there anything else tingling your jingle in Week 14 here?
Baltimore at Buffalo. I mean, we had Dallas at Chicago. That one, I agree. That one was a tingle jingle. But Baltimore 10-2 at Buffalo 9-3. How good is Baltimore? Like, that's what this is. That Buffalo defense is good.
We just watched them beat San Fran. It was arguably the best defense.
Yep. But this is a different team. I think, were they in San Fran for that game?
They were in Baltimore.
So this is an away game. Buffalo, I think, has a little bit better offense just because they have a run game going. John Brown is good. Josh Allen has done well. They're the top 2 rushing quarterbacks in the NFL at this point in this season. So that'll be interesting to watch. So I'm looking forward to that game.
Yeah, I like San Fran in New Orleans. They're both 10-2. Obviously, after losing to Baltimore and Seattle winning, San Fran is now in the 5 seed, which is kind of crazy to think about. But, I mean, San Fran is a good team. I like San Fran in New Orleans here. Breeze seems to get shaky at some points in the season, and not just Breeze, but the whole Saints team. Obviously, both teams are great. One is very offensive. I mean, the Saints have a pretty decent defense as well. San Fran, of course, known for their defense with a not bad offense. So, big seeding implications in this one, and just should be a great game. So I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, no, I agree there. Next one on the list, we have Kansas City 8-4 at New England's 10-2. Always a classic as of 2018. That's going to be, I think that's going to be a good game. This could be a game where we see New England not alone on top of the AFC East's division, because if Baltimore loses to Buffalo, New England loses to Kansas City, we've got a 10-3 tie in that division. Dun dun dun. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that game. Should be a good game where New England tries to get their running game on track. Kansas City tries to get their passing game going against a good defense.
Right. Last matchup we have here is Seattle at the Rams. So it's a divisional game. The Rams seem to be getting hot again, which is, you wouldn't think we'd be saying that at this point in the year, but because they have been struggling. But if they're getting hot, this is the right time to do it. They're now 7-5. They're right behind the Vikings in the playoff picture. So who knows what could happen? They could end up taking our number 6 wild card spot. But it's a divisional game. The Rams and the Seahawks. It should be very interesting. Seattle, while they are 10-2, they have some wins that aren't that convincing. A lot of their games are super close, and they did lose to the Saints with Teddy Bridgewater. So who knows? But I'm excited.
Yeah. Locks and upsets. Play that sounder.
I will play that sounder, Josh. I have to remember what number it is, but there we
7.
go. Locks and upsets. Kyle continues to be atop the leaderboard. I don't know what his lead was last time, but his lead is now 6 points. Kyle at 33. Second place tied. We have T and Nikita, like we said earlier. Jalen has fallen all the way to 4th at 26, tied with Brian. Jesse's down there at 25. Brad at 24, along with Walters. Jordan and Josh are down there at 23. I'm now tied with Derek, which is depressing, at 22. Eric's at 20. Aaron down at the bottom at 19. It's still anyone's game. We have got 4 full weeks left. If you were going full upsets, you could still get 16 more points. So is anyone is technically in it if Aaron were to go on a run and everyone else were to just not get any more picks the rest of the year. But it's certainly Kyle's game to lose at this point. Josh, who do you like this week?
I've got 2 upsets. I've got Kansas City upsetting New England, and then Indy upsetting Tampa Bay.
Wow. What do you like about that Indy team?
Well, I don't know, but I was panicking and I just picked a team.
Okay. I have KC over New England as well, just because New England's offense has been TRBL turbo this year. So, I mean, if KC can go in there and put up any sort of offense, they should be able to walk away with this one-handedly. And then I like Arizona over Pittsburgh. I don't know exactly what the spread was. I know Arizona's been sliding recently, but I think that team has some promise. Obviously, this is not their year, but I like Arizona in the next couple of years. So I think they'll get a couple more wins this year, and I like them over Pitt.
Yeah, Nikita has Minnesota as her lock over Detroit. Pretty safe lock there. But then her upset is Oakland over Tennessee.
Yeah, and I want to, so we normally talk about Eric's. I just want to, so Eric sent me a message. He usually sends his stuff in on Wednesday, very reliable. He sent me a message, or I sent him a message today. I said, "Are you dead?" He said, "Haha, I feel like it. Had 2 exams in a row and got super drunk last night, but I'll get my picks in by tomorrow." I just responded with, "You are my hero." So Eric's, we love you. We're thinking about you. Josh, when's the last time you got super drunk?
What time is it?
It is 10:54 a.m.
12 hours ago.
Ooh.
Nah, I'm just kidding. Super drunk?
Super drunk.
Oh, boy. Probably the Hammer wedding.
The Hammer wedding, huh? Nice. Up in Duluth. You didn't end up on the side of the road like Brad did, though.
Oh, no. No, I didn't need the cops to show me where the hotel was.
Oh, man. I'm sure Brian's heard that story by now, but if he hasn't, that's our way of breaking it to him, I guess. Your son's a fucking degenerate sometimes.
Yeah, waking me up and having a cop shine a flashlight in my face.
What are you doing in here? Sleeping? How dare you?
Yep.
Oh, Brad. All right. So you said Nikita. Walters has Minnesota over Detroit as his lock and San Fran over New Orleans as his upset.
Aaron has San Fran over New Orleans as his upset and Kansas City over New England as his other upset.
And we'll go all the way down to Brian, who always gets his picks in. He's got San Fran over New Orleans as well, and he also likes Indy over Tampa Bay. Maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago, I would have liked Indy over Tampa Bay, but I think Tampa Bay's offense is a little too hot for what Indy's putting out right now. But I respect the picks. Josh, do you have any other thoughts about the locks and upsets before we move on?
I do not.
All right, Josh, you know what time it is then.
Fantasy fun time. Week 14.
Nice.
A little bit of less enthusiasm, but, it can't always be 100% enthusiastic because it's playoff week.
Ooh, we got some rumblings out there, Josh. So we always start our fantasy fun time with our grain of salt. If you're going to, quote unquote, listen to our fantasy advice, you probably shouldn't. But if you do, here's the grain of salt it comes with. So last week I went 4-4 overall on the year in my 8 fantasy leagues. My record was 55-49. Diving into it just a little bit deeper, since it was the final regular season week in all my leagues. I missed the playoffs in 3 of my leagues, so I was 5-8 making the playoffs. I am the 4th seed in 3 of them. I am the 3rd seed in 1 of them, and I am the 1st seed in the final week. So even for making the playoffs, I wasn't super convincing. I made, I'm kind of the middle of the road as far as playoff teams go, and I really don't know if I'm going to have success or not this year. I do know that because I had the most points for in one of my leagues, I won $40. So out of the $430 I spent on fantasy this year, I'm only now negative, a net negative of $390. So we're getting there, Josh. We are getting there.
Good for you, bud.
Thanks.
I went 3-5 last week, solidifying myself in the playoffs in 4 out of my 5 leagues. I got the first seed in the Victoria's Secret League. Ladies, got a bye there.
This is your first time making the playoffs, too.
First time making the playoffs. Got that number 1 on lock. Came down to most points for. It's kind of funny. Ben and I, even though I know only Walters in that league listens to this podcast, Ben and I had never been as high as the 3 seed. And Ben was at risk of being last in the league about 5 weeks ago. But going into the final week, we are the 1 and 2 seeds. So congrats, Ben. See you in the finals. Bunker League, our family league, Nikita's family, we finished the season with a 6-win streak. Gave us a second seed for a bye. We've been in the playoffs all 3 or 4 years we've been in this league. Just a bunch of scrubs. Never won one though because injuries always derail us in the fantasy playoffs. Deflate these balls. I lost by 5 points. Haven't made the playoffs in that league yet. We got the 7th seed this year. Missed it by 1.
Ladies.
7th seed in the Hidden Oaks Redraft League, thanks to a dominant victory in the final week. And then Hidden Oaks Dynasty, 5th seed, after losing to Connor, who I play in the first round.
Any chance you beat Connor in the first round?
Hopefully.
Well, I guess I don't know if it's going to be close or not. All right, so that was our grain of salt. We've made the playoffs in a lot of our leagues, but if we don't win the ship, does anyone really care?
I won it last year, so you should still be listening to me.
You won 1 ship out of what, 6 leagues you're in last year?
No, I won 2, but one of them was a free league through Star Wars, so they don't know what sports are.
All right, Josh. Let's talk about some top performers of the week.
Yeah. Oh. So, quarterback, we had Deshaun Watson putting up 29, Aaron Rodgers with 28, and Fitzmagic with 27. Running backs, we got the benched James White putting up 38, Darius Geis putting up 28, and then Rashad Penny vulturing a few touchdowns for 27. Devontae Parker, feeding off that Fitzmagic, got 35. Robert Woods with 30, coming back off of a game where he didn't play, I believe. And then Alshon Jeffrey with 29. Tyler Higbee was our leading tight end with 24. Jack Doyle with 19. And Mike Gesicki with 19 as well.
You have an absolutely breathtaking hiney.
Why was that Jack Doyle?
Well, it's written in all caps.
Okay.
Gotta respect the caps.
Gotta respect the all caps. Did you have any of those top performers on any of your teams this week, Josh? Or do you? Going forward?
Robert Woods on my bench. Mike Gesicki on my bench. Deshaun Watson, I had starting. And yeah, that's it.
Nice. All right, Josh. Studs and Doodlays. Last week, I had Noah Fant, who is probably going to put up 50 this week, but only had 1 catch last week. -6 for me there. DeAndre Hopkins, barely a dud. Had less than half, or had half a point less than his projection. Overall, I was -6 points on the week. I suck.
I had Philip Lindsay as my stud. He got 5 under his projection. Lamar Jackson was my dud. He got 1 over his projection, giving me a -6 as well.
Eric's had DJ Chark Doot as his stud. Projected 16.5. Pretty bold stud pick. Only had 6.7 on the week, so -10 there. Had Chris Carson as the dud, which I really like that dud pick, but those guys shredded us. So overall, Eric's was almost 12 on the week for last place.
Nikita managed to get both of her picks right with Eckler, giving her a net of 3.7, and Hopkins was a dud with 15.6 points for 0.6 differential. She finished with a positive 4.3.
Not bad, Nikita. Walters had Derek Carr as his stud. Nope. Came in 5 points under his projection, and then he also had Chris Carson's the dud, which he was not a dud. Overall, Walters was -7 on the week.
Brian had Goff as his stud, who put up 25, who got him 9 points, and Fournette as a dud, which netted him 4 as well, because he was a dud, for a total of 13 in his differential.
Yeah, I think after that, I think Brian's had 1 negative week, and I think since we talked some trash, Brian is really up to his studs and duds game. I don't know who he's really competing against because there's no prize here or anything, but I think it's for his pride. He doesn't want to be seen as a bad guy. So, Josh, this week I got Bilal Powell. Le'Veon Bell is a question mark. He's had some illnesses. He's missed the last 2 practices. So I'm assuming Bilal Powell gets more of a game load here. Only projected 5.4. My dud is Philip Lindsay. I only picked him as a dud because he has not been performing these last couple weeks. So he's projected 14.3. If he gets like 10, that's a dud, and that's 4 points for me. So we'll see.
I had Aaron Jones as my stud. He's projected 16.4 at home, cold weather game against Washington, struggling run defense. As we've said, they should win handedly, so they should be running the ball to run the clock out. I think he's going to outdo that 16.4. My dud, Dalvin Cook, projected 23.4. Only reason he's a dud is because of that injury concern, whether or not he's on a snap count. If they get up early, they're likely to switch to Madison and Ham and rest him for the next week where they're hoping he can get even healthier.
Right. This is normally the point where you talk about Eric's, but again, that man is nursing a big hangover. And Josh, do you think bartenders get more drunk than other people, or do you think it's the same? Because Eric's is a bartender for anyone who doesn't know, so that man knows his way around a liquor cabinet.
Oh, I don't know. I assumed that you had to be drunk to be a bartender.
You're just drunk before you get there?
Yep.
Got to clock in drunk. Maybe. All right. So
That's how they clock in, with one of those breathalyzers.
Got to be above .08, bud. So anyways, Eric's no picks yet. Nikita has Kyle Rudolph as a stud, and that's honestly a pretty good stud pick. He's been, getting some catches and some touchdowns recently. However, I don't like how his projection is. He's projected 9.9. I'm thinking Rudolph will probably be right around there, so I don't like the pick, but Nikita proves me wrong every week. And then she's got Kamara as the dud, projected 19.1. Playing the San Fran defense, it's certainly possible that Kamara has a rough week. So not pretty good picks there, Nikita.
Walters has Derrick Henry as a stud. He's projected 18.8. And then Todd Gurley has a dud, projected 16.1. So I'm going to be honest. I had not looked at this list. And when I was looking at the players on my phone when you got here, my stud and dud pick were going to be the flip-flop of that. I was going to have Todd Gurley as my stud and Derrick Henry as my dud.
Whoa. So is Walters tapping into some sort of ESP thing here? Or?
Well, apparently not, because he got it backwards.
Well, I mean, Walters backwards is the world's truth. So
that's true.
So if he's picking Derrick Henry as a stud, he's going to be a dud.
That is true.
So you and Walters are on the same wavelength.
Who's next?
Lastly, we have Brian. He's got Benny Snell as his stud. He got him in when the projection was 2.5. He's now projected, what you said, 11?
Something like that.
James Conner is yet again not playing. And then he also has Alvin Kamara as his dud, copying Nikita's take there. So we will see. We will see. Quick look at the scoreboard. Nikita remains in first out of the core five with 27 points. I'm in second with 15. Well, the only two positives. Josh is trying as hard as he can to get positive. He's at negative half a point.
No.
Walters is negative 17. And then Eric's is negative 44. Looking at the big leaderboard, we won't go through all of it, but Brian is handedly in first place. The dude has 72 points. Next closest is Hammer, who refuses to play the game again at 43. So, Brian, unless you have a great implosion here, you will win that leaderboard, but you haven't played since the beginning, so you're not part of the core five, so you don't fully count. Neener.
Hands on my wiener.
Josh, that's inappropriate. How dare you?
Sorry.
All right, Josh. Let's talk about the redraft week 13. We had some pretty interesting situations for how the playoffs team shook out. Did we not?
We did.
Well, hold on. I almost got ahead of myself, Josh. You can't be doing that around here.
It's true that every man has his price.
I was waiting for you to play that. That's why I didn't do anything.
Thank you.
That money won is a
And I'm
lot
playing
sweeter
Yahtzee on
than
my
money
phone.
earned.
Now he's a philosophizer.
Well, you see, Josh, I normally stall. I just vamp while I'm writing down the segment start time, so it's not awkward. But then, when I'm trying to push a button and write things, my brain gets cross-wired and short-circulated and kind of fucky. So, kind of this way she goes.
Yeah.
Anywho, the final side bet was coffees for closers, and everyone who listens should know by now that Nate actually won. I'm pretty sure his first side bet of the year. He had the smallest margin of victory, beating Derek by 2.3 points, and that
Thanks to Seattle's final field goal.
Thanks to Jason Myers' final field goal, kicked Derek out of the playoffs. Derek never should have been anywhere near the playoff picture, almost had it, and then Jason Meyer kicks Derek right back down to, I don't know, probably 12th place or something. Man, what an upset. But because of that, we now have T in the playoffs. So
someone got to buy.
Yeah, and that's going to be Jamie. But before we get into next week, we will talk about last week very briefly. Josh, do you have it up, or you just want me to go through all of them?
You can go through all of them briefly, yeah.
All right, so Jesse beat me in a game that didn't really matter because we both were already locks for the playoffs. He beat me 117.3 to 68.6. The only worry thing there is that my team only put 68.6. Obviously, not a thing you want your team to do right before the playoffs. So hopefully we get our shit together. So I'm playing Jesse again this week, but that's how that happened. Jamie stopped. Well, actually, Robin kept it pretty close against Jamie in a game that didn't matter at all. Jamie beats Robin 131 to 124. T didn't even have a starting lineup. Put in fucking Jeff Driscoll, who didn't play. And then I think he had James Wood on the bench as well. But Willie beats T 98.4 to T's 68.4. Willie, again, has not broken 100 points in the last 3 weeks, so that man is struggling. We already talked about Nate beating Derek by 2.3. Sorry, Derek, you almost had the playoffs. Waller. Big Waller Brand, a.k.a. AJ, beat Nikita 111.3 to 106.2. That loss kept Nikita out of the playoffs just barely. If she would have won, she would have been in. But Andrew cements his place at the 6th seed. Josh, like you mentioned earlier, you handedly beat Garrett, a team that shouldn't have even been close to the playoffs. But you beat him 136 to 70.6.
You're welcome.
And then Brian beat Bradley. Again, Brian pulls him off every week. 121.9 to Bradley's 93.8. It's like Bradley wasn't even trying to beat his dad. Usually that role's reversed, but Brian just continues to beat his son. You think that's why Bradley is the way he is? Because Brian beats him like that?
No. I think Bradley's that way because Bradley's that way.
Yeah. So anyways, that is how all the matchups ended last week, and that's how we got into the playoff picture we have now. But before we move into previewing this week, I want to finish my Game of Thrones, my Hunger Games bit one more time. I'm gonna not fuck it up this week. Josh, do you hear that? We are so sorry that we lost Nikita Mitchell. We lost Bradley Knoop, Garrett Flint, Derek Schultz. You will all be missed. You will not be forgotten. You will have more join you in the fallen as they lose their playoff matchups. We love you, but you suck.
You still have money to play for.
There's $20 potential draft implications depending on our draft selection system next year, but it's done for them this year, Josh.
How about for draft selection, we do taser time? Whoever can hold a taser on their body the longest wins.
Does T not have an unfair... T and Derek could have an unfair advantage, wouldn't they? Because they've already been tased.
Well, yeah, but I'm sure they don't want to do it again.
Oh, and Nikita's been tased, hasn't she, or no?
Nah. Nikita hasn't been tased.
All right. I guess I don't know what it all takes to do all those different
I can't get
roles.
tased because of a heart condition, so I'll just take first pick as far as where I get to draft, and I'll just take the first round.
You'll take the entire first round?
Yep.
All right, Josh. We've talked about it a lot. It's finally here. Fantasy playoffs. Let's preview that week 14, Josh. First matchup. Well, actually, hold on. No side bets anymore, but we did give out some money. Willie won $20 for having the most points for by a mile. Garrett, for the second year in the row, won $20 for having the most points against. You two both suck because I hate you. Now moving on. So we talked about it. Jamie basically has a bye this week. I don't even know if we should respect this matchup by talking about it, but Jamie, the 1 seed, plays T in the 8 seed. T is a lucky bastard for even making the playoffs, but no more. He was projected to lose by at least 16. Jamie's Mahomes has a tough matchup at New England, but CMC though. Josh, do you have any thoughts on this matchup other than Jamie's should win by a lot?
Jamie should win, but T's team isn't necessarily going to... he's
not going to roll over, but...
Yeah, Fitzpatrick against New York Jets. That should be a good game for Fitz. Gordon Eckler. It's always risky to play two players on the same team, especially in the same position. But he's been doing it, and they've always had solid numbers. They're at Jacksonville. Jacksonville's been struggling on defense, especially since getting rid of Jalen Ramsey, and they're really not going to do much. So who knows there? Tyler Lockett at the Rams. Lockett's coming off of a zero burgers, so he. I think that they're going to try and target him early. Sanders at New Orleans. That could be a shootout. Dallas Goedert, New York Giants. James White, Kansas City. I think he has the matchup benefit, but Jamie has the better team.
Jamie certainly has the better team. It does look at this point that he does have a full starting lineup. So obviously the Thursday game has already happened. Neither of these teams have had a Thursday night player, so it's still 0-0. I don't know if you said the projection yet or not, but Jamie's projected to win now 133.8 to T's 110.3. So obviously projections don't mean that much in the grand scheme, other than Jamie's favorite at this point. I could make or break T's performance here just because. So he had picked up Kyle Allen as his free agent quarterback, and I was like, what the fuck are you doing? You're not going to pick up Fitzmagic? And I don't know. He gave me some BS, and then he's like, wait, you're right. And then he picked up Fitzmagic. So I could have just doomed T, or I could have just helped T. We'll see.
We'll see.
I'm taking Jamie in this one, and it's going to be my
Stone Cold Lock of the Century. All the week.
Yeah, I took Jamie by 40.
Yeah. So do you want me to play that sounder for you as well?
No.
Okay. Are you ever going to find your own?
Nah, not this year.
Not this year. Okay. Well, Jamie, if you don't win, it'll certainly be an upset, as the kids would say. Josh, we got your matchup next. You are at Willie, the 7 seed, at the 2 seed. Of course, we should probably let you talk about your matchup the most. What do you like? What do you not like about this matchup? Still currently 0-0.
I don't like a lot of the matchups that we got going on here. Cortland said at Houston. Houston's got decent defense. Buffalo, I've got Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews going up against Buffalo. That should be tough, especially if the weather's implemented.
The weather's implemented?
The weather's bad.
Inclement weather?
Yes. Overall, it's really close projection within 4 points. I think that he has the better. I definitely think he has a better team. I already said Aaron Jones is going to be a stud because of his Washington matchup. He's got him in the flex, Dalvin Cook, Le'Veon Bell. My only hope for winning this game is that Nick Chubb goes off against Cincy, Sony Michel goes off against Kansas City's putrid run defense, and Washington lets Devonta Adams put up 400. And then Le'Veon Bell is too sick to play against Miami, and Dalvin Cook is too injured to play against Detroit.
Right. So Willie's team has been trending in the wrong direction. Currently, I'm actually surprised to see this. Willie's projected to win 129.5 to Josh's 126. So it's going to be a relatively close matchup, again, per the projections. Lamar Jackson has outscored his projection every single week. We know Buffalo is a stiffer defense, but the man had 25 or so against San Fran. I think, Josh, what did Lamar put up last week? Do you remember?
23.
Okay, so actually the projection might be pretty close. San Fran's defense likely better than Buffalo's, but they're still both pretty good. I think Willie's projection is probably a little inflated. Le'Veon Bell could easily miss the game and not have a single snap. If that's the case right now, Willie has the only backup running back he has on his bench is Tevin Coleman. He could put Aaron Jones into the other running back spot and then put like a Curtis Samuel or a Hollywood Brown into his flex. John Ross, a potential as well. But, Willie's team, Dalvin Cook's probably on a snap count. Le'Veon Bell might miss the game. I like Kenny Golladay at Minnesota. We've been a terrible pass defense all year, even though it was Marvin Jones' time last time. It's a different quarterback, so we'll see what happens there. Austin Hooper has missed the last couple games. That's been tough, but if he's back at full strength, that's going to help Willie a lot. I don't like Aaron Jones as much, only because him and Jamal have been such a split, and if Jamal's the hot hand early, Aaron Jones is certainly going to take the back seat from what I know about that team, so we'll just kind of see how it goes. New England defense playing Kansas City, that's brutal for Willie, I think, as well. So even at only a 3.8 projection, that might be too high unless they get a defensive score. Lamar Jackson, like I said, for Josh, is going to outscore his projection. I don't know. I won't talk about every single player, but I think Willie's team is probably projected too high. Josh and I had already picked in this matchup. I'm taking Josh to win this one just because his team is so banged up, it's hard to pick him. He hasn't broken 100 the last 3 weeks. Willie, while you have been hot all year, you got slow and cold at the wrong time, and I'm taking Josh in this one.
I took Willie Burt in this one.
Willie Burt.
Yep, I'm going with Willie Burt because I think 6 weeks ago we said he's going to run away with the championship. I'm just going to stick to my guns there. That way, if I lose, I picked the winner.
Yeah, pulling the old Brian card on us. All right, so that's that matchup. Josh is taking Willie. Probably biased there, trying to be humble. I'm taking Josh. We will see. Next matchup is AJ, aka Hammer, Big Waller Brand, at Brian, the Skybusters. AJ is the 6 seed. Brian is the 3 seed. So I didn't purposely lose last week, but I said I didn't want to play Hammer, so I'm happy I fell to the 4 seed to play Jesse instead. Hammer already had Hammer already had Amari Cooper play, who looked like he was going to have a really, really bad day. He had, I think, 1.8 points going into the third or fourth quarter, something like that, and then he had a good second half, a good fourth quarter. So Amari Cooper ended up putting up 20.3 for Hammer. He was only projected 15. Of course, Brian projected Hammer to win this game from the beginning. Hammer's currently projected to win 132.6 to Brian's 109.1. Brian hasn't had a person play yet, or didn't have a person play the Thursday night game. Brian is missing T.Y. Hilton for the 98th week. He's got Deshaun Watson at Denver. Could be a stiffer matchup. We'll see with DeAndre Hopkins as well. Benny Snell is stepping up for James Conner, so that should be good. I don't know who Patrick Lard is. He plays for Miami. So
he's a white running back in Miami.
That's disgusting. Might as well call Toby Gerhart instead. John Brown's been pretty hot, so assuming Buffalo's behind, that could be a good matchup for Brian. Evan Ingram, I think, is going to play this week, but he's been banged up. I know 3Lie likes to throw to Evan Ingram, but there's so many question marks for the Monday night matchup. Who knows? I'm going to guess either Brian has already won or lost by Monday night, so I doubt Evan Ingram will matter, but we'll see. Devontae Parker has been super hot recently with Fitzmagic, and they're playing a not very good Jets team. Brian has the San Fran defense in New Orleans. They're projected 5.8. I don't know. That might be a little high for my taste. Again, depending on a defensive score, maybe a pick or something. But those don't happen too often. I mean, I haven't picked someone in this matchup. I mean, do you want to talk about Hammer's team? Do you want me to just keep talking here, Josh?
Yeah. So Hammer has Josh Allen, Alvin Kamara, Kenyon Drake, Amari Cooper, who we already talked about, Jarvis Landry, Hunter Henry, Darren Waller, Pittsburgh's defense, and then Will Lutz. I think Hammer, just reading the names, looking through that, Hammer has the better team. Brian obviously thinks so since Brian picked Hammer. But at the same time, the matchups, Kamara, Lutz against San Fran. Who knows? That defense is solid. Jarvis Landry against Cincinnati. If they get up early, it's going to be a run game. Hunter Henry at Jacksonville. Los Angeles has been kind of all over the place. Darren Waller at Tennessee. Tennessee's defense is solid. Josh Allen is the number 5 quarterback going up against Baltimore. They're going to have to throw the ball. And if he throws the ball, John Brown's his favorite target, who Brian has. And so I think Hammer's going to win, but I think this game is going to be closer than what the projection is sitting at right now. I don't think it's going to be a 25-point game.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, Josh and I sometimes pick before the game, sometimes don't. I couldn't pick this one before, and I'm still really struggling. So Hammer has been hot recently, and so if you want to use recency bias and you want to look at the projections, Hammer should win this one handily. However, Brian has been the dog in almost every single fucking matchup he's had this year. The man ended 9-4 in the 3 seed. I'm going with Brian here just because the fucking world is a crazy world we live in, and Brian wins as the dog constantly. This man should be nowhere near the playoffs after drafting Andrew Luck and whoever else he did. I don't recognize most of his team. I'm picking Brian just because, of course. All right, we got one more matchup, Josh.
One more matchup. Let me pull it up on my phone. This matchup has points scored on both teams. We have got Jesse versus G. G, you had Ezekiel Elliott playing already, put up 23.3 for you, 81 and 2 touchdowns. He looked like he was starting a little bit, or he got a touchdown and then he just kind of fell off in the middle, and at the end he got another one. Mm-hmm. Maher, somehow still on the team. He got you 5 after having 0 until the fourth quarter, I believe.
Good enough for me.
5 is still 5. But then the rest of your team, you got Kirk Cousins versus Detroit. That should be a good start there. Josh Jacobs, Tennessee. Chris Godwin, Indy. Christian Kirk, Pitt. George Kittle, New Orleans. AJ Brown, Oakland. And then
Antonio Brown. And
then New York Jets versus Miami. Overall, I like your team. I think that the matchups are going to be favorable. Chris Godwin's been killing it. Josh Jacobs has been killing it. Kirk Cousins has been killing it. So it should be I think that your projection of 128 is pretty much on the money at this point.
Right. I like my team too, of course. I've got Ronald Jones on the bench, Ryan Tannehill in the Chiefs defense. I've been thinking about tinkering there. I'm probably not gonna. I'm just going to stick to what I got. But, I do, I'm not like some of the other teams in this league where I've got no bench. I could plug and play other players and just kind of see how she goes, but I'm going to leave her the way she is now. As far as Jesse's team, he's got Aaron Rodgers. So Aaron Rodgers, I think, is going to get 9 points this week, or he's going to get 40. It just kind of depends on, is Aaron Rodgers going to run up the score, or are they just going to control the clock? We'll have to see there. So that'll be a big tell, I think, for whether or not Jesse wins. He's got Mark Ingram at Buffalo. So Mark Ingram has been killing it this year. A big shock, a big fantasy superstar that probably a lot of people didn't see. At least certainly I didn't see coming. He's got Devin Singletary has been hot. So he's got the two running backs playing each other. So normally when that happens, both running backs don't put up huge scores. However, this is a full PPR league. So, if they're catching passes out of the backfield, both running backs could have big games. But normally that's going to be one or the other there for Jess, so we'll just kind of see. Julio Jones has had a pretty rough year for Jesse. He's projected 16.9 at Carolina. Carolina just fired Ron Rivera, so who knows if that team's going to be more energized or less energized now. But Julio Jones, I think 16.9 might be a bit of a high projection, but who knows. Allen Robinson has been killing it. He already played on Thursday night, was projected 14.4, got Jesse 21.8, so he's already got 7 points over his projection there. Jacob Hollister, the tight end Jesse has out of Seattle, playing the Rams. That dude was, that dude's been pretty good. Stephon Diggs against Detroit. That should be pretty good for Jesse as well. Adam Thielen is confirmed out this week. He's not confirmed out. He's doubtful, so that's essentially the same thing. But Stephon Diggs, unless he's double or tripled all game, he should be able to put his 13.3 projection, no problem. Panthers defense at Atlanta, that could be fine. And then Matt Gay is his kicker. Not that matters too much. So I think Jesse's projection is honestly pretty on the money as well. The biggest question mark will certainly be Aaron Rodgers. He's projected, 123.2. Oh, God, you picked me to win the game? You shouldn't have typed that in. How dare you? No, I'm taking myself as well just because I can't lose to Jesse. I will never live it down if I do. So I'm picking myself. But, I think it's going to be close. I don't know if it'll... I think it might be the closest matchup of the week. It makes sense for the 4 and 5 seed to be playing to be the closest matchup of the week, but I think it's probably going to be like a 2 or 3 point difference in either direction. I saw that you had typed in me. Is there any particular reason you picked me, Josh?
No, I think that you say that it kind of rides on Rodgers, whether he gets 10 or 40, and I think that he's going to I think he's going to have one of those weeks where he has somewhere in the middle of that because they're going to throw early, but then get a lead and then start running the ball more. And if they get that lead early on and they just run the ball, then you're going to be sitting pretty. Overall, I think you guys are fairly evenly matched across the board as far as skill positions go. So I think it just depends on who shows up, who doesn't. So like you said, this is going to be a close one.
Yeah, I think it'll be close. If anything, the only thing that's going to do me here is, I've been saying it for a couple weeks now, this is the playoff matchup I wanted. So by playing Jesse, I'm sure I'm going to get fucking stomped like I did last week. Because I played Jesse just last week, 117. I lost 117 to 70, so.
You're going to put up the second highest score, but Jesse's going to put up the highest score of the week?
Probably, dude. So we will see. Those are all the playoff matchups. Playing for the constellation, we won't go into the matchups or the players themselves, but Brad's playing Nikita, Garrett's playing Derek, and Nate is playing Robin. So if anyone doesn't know how the constellation ladder works, is if you want to, you can think about it kind of like King's Court. If there's 3 different courts out there, you have to win the top game in the 3rd week to win. So right now, Brad and Nikita have the best chance. Nate or Robin would have to win all 3 of their games to win the constellation, but it is possible. Brad and Nikita have a bit of a cushion. They could lose this week or next week and still win the consolation bracket. But essentially, if you win, you move up. If you lose, you move down. So if Brad and Nikita were to win, they would stay on the winner's court or the king's court. And if they, anyone in the consolation ladder, if you win all 3 of your games, you're going to win the consolation bracket. That's how it works. So we'll see how that shakes out. You could win $20 and potentially some extra ping pong balls if that's the way we go. Josh, do you have any other thoughts on the redraft playoffs this week?
Nope. Go Packers.
Go Packers. All right, Josh, those are the... Ooh, did you try?
No, it's off. I'm not going to turn it on for one sound bit. The Vikings are terrible.
You nailed it. Okay, so those were all the playoff matchups. Josh, as always, thank you for welcoming me into your home.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching.
You're welcome.
Thanks for listening.
There you go.
Thanks for breathing.
Nikita, thank you for having me in your home as well. Ryan Walters, Eric Kesterix, Jamie Hammer, Levi Oki, Satch Wells, Brian Canoop, Hammer, Brad Canoop, Jesse Morissette, Jordan Bizates, Kyle Jevnager. Thank you very much. HiddenOaksOverdose@gmail.com, Facebook.com/hoodpod, and Anchor.fm/hoodpod. Those are all the different ways you can find us. Talk to us. Josh, it's time for the folks to go to sleep. What's up?
11:30.
It is only 11:30. Bedtime. And it only took us an hour and 10 minutes. Not even that